new heroes that they've incorporated in since this was an old standard. But I do want to say that the fact that it was Zagara and they got so far behind, Superstars have to realize, right, that if they lose their forts that early on versus Zagara, it's going to be a huge uphill climb to try to come back because it is that win more type of composition.
Yeah, it's like she plays the role like the Sylvanas can. You know, when you have those winning comps, she can win it a lot harder. You could maybe argue a little bit like Abathur, except Abathur you can rely on 100% of the time at the 13 mark to kind of be this weird map manipulating monster where he blows the experience into your team's favor. So I definitely agree with you. They can look at a lot of their draft and kind of be like, we asked for that. At least with how we made the mistakes early on, it's very reasonable that it led to that circumstance, so not to letting it get to them mentally, and hopefully it doesn't.
Well, let's see where we are going for game number 2 between Team Freedom and Superstars. Superstars, in choosing first pick, has left a battleground choice up to Team Freedom. Freedom picks Sky Temple.
Does that mean anything to you with Freedom going to Sky?
Genji. They've played Diva before on their team. I don't know.
Genji.
Genji. That's almost every battleground, right? You could ask that just about everything. I'd be like, Genji.
That's what I thought about it. It was such a safe throw out. Just like, yeah, I mean, the hero we see in almost every game. It's like being like, you know, what support do you expect here? You just be like, Uther? Like in every draft? Uther, I expect?
Diva 2. We've seen them have the Diva-Genji pairing on Sky. Only one game of Sky from Team Freedom so far, but they did pick it versus Even in Death. And it actually wasn't the pairing with Genji. I was crazy. Just the Diva. Diva with Li Ming and Greyman. For Superstars on Sky, Genji. So there you go.
He's off. He's
and
gone.
Brightwing.
Superstars is removed. They don't want to deal with it. The Anoob's off the table too. Is this a snap to Haka? Do they go with something else here? For Superstars is going to be the task. Keeping it open. I was wondering if they might, you know, commit to, again, a different priority of heroes just based on the comfort that they feel here, but they're going with more meta with the first pick Tassadar.
Uther Stitches doesn't give away too much for Team Freedom, but does get Stitches along with an immediate hook follow-up.
Freedom also keeps up the trend of just being some of the most meta-focused drafters out of it. They don't hesitate because it's a math problem. Really, it is nearly that easy. I will say, I don't know if Superstars is the team to do it, but that will come back to bite them eventually. You have to recognize, appreciate, and follow the meta 90% of the way. 10% is the freedom factor, whatever your team is. And, you know, I would expect a better team to just go, please pick the meta because I'm going to body that rotation.
You don't think that Freedom's freedom factor is Diva?
I don't think one hero is enough to be that, right? Like, if you came to me and you were like, I don't know, name another hero that some player plays very well. Like I would say with like any team Glaring's been in the past, with the Zeratul. Would you be like, well, Zeratul's enough to be able to redeem them of every single game? I'd be like, heck no. That's one resource I have to worry about. Just draft things good against the Diva. Draft things just good against that. It's, you know, having those things, great. But when you only have one, not that bad.
Maybe Freedom have more and we just haven't had to see it yet. Because honestly, nobody has really punished them until now, taking away that Genji. In fact, when I talked to Kira, I was like, were you guys surprised that Naventic, who had been banning Genji, let you have it? And he was like, yeah. We can play versus Genji, and we can play without it. But if you're going to give it to us, thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice resource teams like Team Freedom can abuse in the draft. One that not any other team in North America really gets to use as heavily, except maybe, again, teams like Roll20 with things like the Medivh, you know, but anytime we see it, going to love it there. Rhaegar's been the band here for Freedom.
Task Tracer once again for Superstars.
Yeah.
So I expect this to be a better game for Superstars than the last one.
All right. Call me crazy. If this RL gets banned, what main support would Superstars move into? What I was trying to say, because they aren't going to ban it, I'm a sad panda now. Lucio. Really underestimated right now.
He did get buffed.
He's not meta. He's nothing like when he came out where I was like, guys, Lucio is so underestimated. He is the best support in the game. And everybody's like, I don't know. And then eventually he got there. This is a different version, but he has a place. He very much is a situational one, and I don't totally hate it for Superstars. What are you're giving me the stank eye there. What is it?
You think it's going to be Ariel?
No, they were hovering it in the ban.
No, you think Superstars will pick Ariel?
I mean, whatever. I didn't get that far, I guess. I mean, it's very reasonable now that they have a Tassadar. It's possible.
But you need another tank. I guess, are you okay with Tracer being your hope?
No.
That's
Yeah, it doesn't have to. Yeah, I wasn't saying that they have to do Ariel. The main thing is they were hovering the ban. I was just saying if that got removed, I want Lucio here. Like, so bad. Into a Stitches specifically because of the movement speed. Like, making it to where everybody's a little bit harder to catch up onto. He's still got such good AoE supporting schools. Like, yeah, he got kind of nerfed to the floor, but if you can make up for some of his weaknesses, which is just his default sustain, he is still one of the best. His movement speed is actually still broken.
You know who else gives movement speed?
Who?
Fight time!
No, not the Brightwing.
It's going to be there.
This is probably...
This is a Brightwing game.
Yeah, it is. It is a Brightwing game. To see it that high up.
Li-Ming Greymane on the other side. Double reset composition. You've got the Uther for enabling the Greymane too, as well as the Li-Ming.
Brightwing's pretty effective into a double reset comp because they want to win the fight in half a second, and Brightwing's only good in the fight for about half a second. Into a Brightwing, you want to win the fight over a 10, 12 second window, like longer amount of time, and in having that. So I don't mind if we see the Brightwing here, again, because the map and the global and the Polybomb dream into that doubles reset, but I don't think you have to. And the other pick being the main warrior, what does Superstars want? It's the Arthas, and there's the Brightwing.
Double global.
Double global.
The Tracer Tass. There she is in all her glory. The Brightwing. Brightwing had a huge change in the patch that just came into HGC. Switching out so that her shield dust, or her pixie dust, doesn't give block stacks anymore. Instead, 30 spell armor. And then you can pick a talent for just straight physical armor for the duration instead of stacks at 13. So effectively changing out the spell armor for physical armor at 13 if you want to pick that up. But there's also other 13 options as well. And with the spell armor, you aren't forced to have to go into the physical armor necessarily. Team Freedom, though, they're playing to win again. They've got their diva.
They've got the diva set up here for us. This, oh man. Having the diva not having another easy kill target, anytime we can see those compositions that are like, we really want this kill, and then I see the diva picked up, I really enjoy it. It's like picking Abathur into Stitches comps. You just remove the one thing that they want to do. It's just not even an option to be able to have that. So I do like that here for Freedom, and they've also been extremely successful with it. Probably the best North American diva team that we've had after the midseason brawl coming to light. So still heavy favor for Team Freedom. If anything, I take less from Superstars draft, like in terms of just the overall strength. It is a good composition up into the long run, but it's like into the last game, you know, I felt like they should have won the laning phase, and it looked pretty poor very early on. I feel like we can expect the same here for Freedom.
There were some diva nerfs that we'll talk about once we get into the game. Maybe that's an opportunity for Superstars. Let's get into game number 2 and see if Superstars can tie up our second series of the day.
But Superstars is playing a lot of comfort, and it's a very popular strategy. One that, again, normally you could argue one of the best strats on this type of map. It's just I'm having a hard time believing that they have the teamwork here together to be able to get it figured out. But they do have Saray onto something like a Tassadar. Tass is, again, one of the easiest of that role to be able to pick up on. It's very common to put your flex there whenever they're learning.
And Hosty has shown that when you put a lot in his hands for the team, he can deliver with something like the Tracer with the Tassadar backup. Looking, though, at our diva, she had her mech health damage and health regeneration nerfed, and then hit the Nitrous, the level 1 talent that was still picked up by Nasmus, was still picked, but during the extra speed boost of the initial boosters, it's 50% less damage instead of, 50% extra damage instead of 100% extra damage. So a nerf on that talent, but Nasmus still believes that it is the most viable talent.
Yoda stocking off on the side. OC's moved on down here. He's going to be the Tracer this round. But got to keep your eye out for Nasmus, mainly because he complimented Masu. Only reason to shout out
That's
Nasmus.
the only reason. Nothing about the fact that he has a fantastic win rate with this hero, specifically D.Va. Granted, a lot of the time, they have D.Va, they also have Genji, and it's the pairing together to seems to be where Freedom really excels. But they've run this before where they have the Li Ming and Cure playing Li Ming along with the D.Va too, and that was even here on Sky Temple.
Yeah, and so having the Li Ming for that reset is going to be really awesome. And I just wanted to kind of highlight why that works with D.Va. So it's mainly just because those heroes are very important on when they go in. They want to go in and just never stop spamming face rolling the keyboard on out. But heroes that can whittle away at the front for long periods of time, we talk about Arthas often because he slows things and it helps. But it's also because of his consistent AoE damage and the threat he's putting up to the front side. The slow is just a cherry on top of that circumstances. And so it's really nice that we see that for this on Freedom. They're going to have the D.Va, pressure up the front, drop a mech, and then suddenly Li Ming's getting resets. How do you deal with that? Well, the answer is force the fight before you get there. Zugrug, he's already down.
Extremely well done of Superstars to abuse that double global composition and catch somebody who doesn't have that much mobility. Zugrug stitches in the front line. The Dahaka came in, the phase shift too, and it pulse bomb just to make sure that Superstars could seal the deal in getting first blood.
Shot on top there for Superstars. Dansky trying to buy a little bit of time here up on mid. Sray is not necessarily the greatest of threats.
This has been delayed a long time though.
Yeah, it has been delayed very, very long time. And so that's going to allow Superstars to be able to make the transition down. Brightwing is looking to join in 3, 2. Now's the time. Let's see what you got, Superstars. You're going to move up. They don't. They're going to go for the trade. All right, so it's going to be an early Giant camp. We've seen this twice from Superstars. They took an early Giant last time they played Sky Temple, and they immediately invaded. If they do the same here, you know, maybe this is a new Superstars approach to Sky Temple. Watch.
Airho's heading over.
Yeah, they're going to do it again. Interesting. This is a new thing for them.
And they kept 2 globals in the lanes too, so they had the globals there the entire time. Now they have the invade.
Now they got to abuse the globals, not run away from the fight. There's no point in invading and having globals if you're not going to abuse them.
Asmus, though, is a scary possibility because that self-destruct is activated. Hammer of Justice hits. Airho on the retreat.
Boss, it got the final blow there. Man, he was dead no matter what, but just having the Frozen Tempest or the Slam, one of the two, max range, just clipped the boss there. Came in for the old punishment. It was a bit of a honey dip that he had going on there, you know? Honey dip, we're going back to sports ball.
Okay.
It's when you slam dunk, but you slam dunk so high above the rim that your elbow gets stuck in it. You know, you just honey dip. And you just hang
What
there.
do? Just hang out there for the rest of the game?
I don't know, dude.
Does someone time out and bring a ladder?
I actually don't learn this from traditional sports. It's fake sports ball. You know, I always played the old school, like, unrealistic basketball games. That's why I was honey dipping. No?
I've never heard of that.
Well,
Sounds like something that Winnie the Pooh would do.
Smarter every day, Gilly. That's what we're here for, okay? We're just trying to learn.
Teaching me.
You know, it's not just you, it's everybody here. Like, about Superstars' pressure of the early game when it comes to Sky Temple. They've gone with the double Giant strategy. It's their new thing.
Iacona has just now picked his level 4 talent. It is Peekaboo.
He's, in fact, about to pick his level 7.
No. Do you remember how long he held that
up
last
until
time he played Brightwing?
Level 11.
And it was, they walked onto the boss point, he picked Cleanse, then he picked Emerald Wind, then he took the boss.
Flashy plays.
I loved that play. That was really fun.
You know, that's what I've been missing in my professional career. Everybody's been missing it.
The Kona?
Well, see, if you don't pick the talents, then you look a lot flashier when you pick a lot of them in a row. Like, it really doesn't take that much micro. It's just control, and then you go like 1, 2, 3. It's pretty easy, but you looked cool because you snap picked it. Everybody is not doing themselves justice here. Everybody's
a winner when you get to see that. There is a double global on the top, along with bruisers, that D.Va is struggling with, but Brightwing's going to come down to the bottom. The temple has been activated.
It's not going to come down. Thruster has interrupted it, actually, there on top.
Nice.
Going to steal the old Guardian. Nothing good with that unless you get the kill just for the experience that it gives. It's actually a significant amount of experience, something I haven't talked about in a long while, but actually for the race of 10s, this one's really important. It's about the distance between their experience right now if you kill that guy. So you can try and last hit it and just swipe it for Dansky there, and then suddenly you find yourself 50-50. Pulse bomb.
Superstars really wanted to get that top fort to be able to get that experience jump that they would get from it, but even still, they had Dahaka soaking one lane and then Brightwing in another. They're still getting the spike in experience over Team Freedom that Freedom has to respect. So they back off, giving the rest of the shots until they can get heroic abilities and go back in for an engage. Here are heroics. Let's see what everybody but Kona picks. Ooh, pulse rounds.
And force wall. So now, oh wow, Urho getting cut out there, doesn't want to pop the army. He's going to save onto it, but Nasmus is flanking from the side. Iacona there, thruster, he just scoots away.
Kona gets blink heal, as well as the full phase shift build, so no cleanse for Brightwing.
I'm really glad we got force wall there for Stray. We talked about it in the last series, when we want it, when we don't. It's again a immobile front line, and you can sustain the DPS. Granted, Tracer's maybe not the DPS you want. Burrow charge, Yoda getting a lot of value out of the adaptation here, and you abusing the passive at level 1 to move away and survive.
Let's talk pulse rounds. Not getting Quantum Spike, so not getting the boost of the 10% max health, even though there is the double warrior. Granted, D.Va, so maybe more so focus on Zugrock, but in this case now, increasing the range of Pulse Bomb as well as the charge rate from basic attacks against heroes. So a build designed for Tracer to just have her Pulse Bomb up as much as possible. Yeah,
they're going to rely a lot onto her auto attacks. It's actually one thing a lot of people kind of fail to appreciate with that talent specifically is it has a lot of synergy with the 16. So then the reload of the 16, you're like, I have more damage, but you aren't considering you're shooting more, and you have 100% increase rate on heroes. Suddenly, what was a huge spike in the percentage that she actually gains off this. What is the exact amount? So 100% increase, then you increase the sleight of hand advantage on top of that, and you're looking at my recharge rate is 2.5, almost 3 times as fast. You got pulse bombs on top of pulse bombs on top of pulse bombs.
She will have a ton of pulse bombs. I'm wondering who she uses this on, though, because Force Armor now can make sure to negate a lot of that, so not necessarily Li Ming. Also, a minion is not necessarily who you want to have on it, but as we talked about, Hosty will have that up pretty soon. And meanwhile, Superstar's doing a fantastic job of body blocking Stitches, even with the Divine Shield. He dodges the Howling Blast. Zugrug lives. The collusion keeps him alive.
And now they're looking to force that Cure 8 of full Pulse Bomb, but thanks to the Force Armor, he's able to stay alive. Adaptation there for Yoda. There we go with the Mecha Explosion. Sray, dimensional shifts out. Hosty, though, found himself in a weird spot. Thanks to the Force Wall. Sray, though, he's a smooth sailing.
He is out of there. Nasmus got Big Shot this time instead of Bunny Hop. We've seen a lot of different ones, but this enables Nasmus to be able to get his mech up a lot faster, because every time he hits a hero, it reduces the cooldown of that call mech by 8 seconds, I believe. Yes, 8 seconds. So in that effect, being able to throw out and be more liberal with your self-destructs, maybe even just using it to try to burn some abilities, something like a dimensional shift, then you could hook him back in, take him out. You've got the Big Shot for a nice chunk of damage as well as the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, it is a really useful tool. You know, when you just look at like kind of like the philosophy of just D.Va's mecha in the first place, what is the reliability that your opponents stand within this area long enough to end up going down? I mean, that alone goes like, yeah, it'd be nice to have as many of those as possible, so then talenting into that to make that a dynamic of your comp, it's always going to be safe here. Stitches has not made any variables, though, when it comes to his build.
Full slam all the time.
I know, it makes me sad. I do feel like he's not given enough credit for his talent diversity. Hold on here.
Pulse Bomb, Divine Shield.
Nice shield timing there.
Nasmus still hanging out in the back. Slowed down, though. He's going to come out of this. Did not have the self-destruct. Immediate route to follow up. Beautifully well done from Superstars to get a kill on D.Va.
Yeah, and they're moving up. They're going to be able to return a lot of the shots. They finally have gained an experience advantage, and more importantly, they just now have evened out the actual structure advantage, with bottom well now being removed. It's near 50-50 in this game.
The structure is very even. Kills exactly even. Experience slightly in favor of Superstars, but again, they have that double global composition of Yoda and Iacona's Brightwing, who did take the new shield dust. So that dust, that pixie dust, when it goes down, will be very helpful in negating a lot of the damage that Team Freedom put out against the target.
Team Freedom For a moment, looked like they were going to invade. Saray with almost a 6th sense there on the Oracle use. Both teams just take it and leave it. Freedom, let's think here. Does either team, to you at first glance, have a major advantage fighting in a shrine area versus a lane area?
Well, I would always look at self-destruct as pretty nice.
Over the chokes. Yeah, you're probably right. That would be enough, but my fear is the force walls. They're
That's
being
true.
too big of a problem in those territories. I almost feel like I want Freedom to take a fight in open area. It's just, normally you would say no because that makes Tracer a big threat, but I mean, look at the map. It doesn't matter where you take a fight. It's going to be Tracer as a problem with distance to safety. So what's the next thing I'm looking at? Do they have any territorial advantages? Dahaka gains a little bit. Arthas gains a pretty significant amount. Bile gets a little bit, and D.Va gets a little bit. But I'm trying to look at what does Freedom have to do to change what we've seen over the last couple of minutes of this game into a team fight. And with the 16 talents here picked up, Superstars commits to the boss. Iacona has to blame his teleport target for that one.
Yes.
The absolute worst thing to do in the video game. Die to that, and you're just like, team, I just needed you to get out so I didn't have to get hit by that.
Superstars were just baiting the fight. They have the drag. It's there. Li Ming.
Divine Shield and the Blink. Man, that's 2 Divine Shields needed on Cure in a row. And again, beyond the health pool of Li Ming, the reason why Li Ming sucks is as a clone or a Divine Shield target is because she's so cooldown dependent. She has to be like, this is my fight, I'm all inning if you're ever going to Divine Shield her and get it worth.
Yeah, hopefully, you would like to hope, especially with Go for the Throat, that you can use the Divine Shield as an enabling for Greymane to just get in there and be able to get a reset, at least the first reset. And then he enables Cure, because Cure has dominance. So once they get the first kill, he gets 20% of his max health back, and then like that, they can work in tandem.
Urho with the flank there, drops the Army of the Dead, 2-man Howling Blast, no Divine Shield to save him either, but he falls so very low, he goes down before he can get enough heals, and look at Cure. The mechas dropped to zone out, but man, Freedom just ready to unleash.
Pulse bomb's there, but Cure does not matter. Hook lands, dimensional shift, but Dansky is right there. Cure and Nasmus working together to take down Iacona, and they get it. Team Freedom has wiped Superstars with 1 battle.
And they're going to have themselves a free boss here up onto the bottom half of the map. My goodness. This is really a momentum swing, mainly because the structural advantage that we're going to see Freedom gain. There's a cool little play that Freedom can make happen. I'm going to say it's about 0% chance we see it. You actually cycle through Knights immediately after because you know they're going to respond to bot. That gets free damage onto the keep front wall on top. That secures a keep if you get enough pressure. And it's only possible because this boss was started. So you actually can 100% keep that top keep if you cycle properly. They're not going to, but this is one of those few windows where a cheeky shot calling play was possible.
They're not doing it because of a different cheeky shot calling play.
Yes, they're going for a different route.
Boss.
So now they go, look at us, you can take the fight up above. Then we go, nope, Chuck Testa, there's a bot on bottom. So then what you do to make up for this, everybody else has to be top ready to battle. Because now they lose shots, and they have to make up this pressure on bottom, but they didn't leave enough shots left to where somebody goes, oh no, at least I have to back on the side of Superstars. So close, but no cigar. That's where I'm leaving that one.
Just like Tychus. Team Freedom at least have taken out both of the giant camps. They're going to push along with this boss. I broke my co-caster.
You did, dude. That was a good one. Just like Tychus. Never heard that. That was, man, I'm impressed. You've been on point.
Thank you, friend. Thank you. You had the setup. I appreciate that. Nasmus has self-destruct too, so he should be able to zone people away. Team Freedom just keeping the giants in the back alive long enough. There's a hook. Everybody just goes straight in. Oh my goodness. She had a blink heal, but Team Freedom cared not. They will take out somebody else instead. That was amazing.
And with that execution, they want more. They're going in. Cure not going to land the combo there.
Hook.
The hook onto her. The stun. The damage is maybe not there. Nice force wall.
No Army. He goes down.
Man, I thought he had Army there for a second, but not realizing that's down. That was such an easy pick there for Freedom.
Still, Team Freedom is really low in their resources. Not a lot of mana for Dansky and Cure. Low on health and a couple of members too, so they are going to back off. They are content. They got a giant lead with that momentum swing.
Yeah, they really did. And they got to keep on top of it. You know, I was saying that, it's not reliable that they gain and keep 100% here. And I was arguing take the safe one, go through top, but they found themselves one on bottom, which debatably better than the one I even called for, because the boss lane eventually will respawn if we find ourselves making it that late. But I have a feeling that it's not going to go that far. With 20 picked up here, 25 seconds away from our next shrine.
And a double temple activation. Superstars very likely are going to have to do something they don't want to do. There's the wave of force.
They both threw out their skill shots just out of the range to figure out if anybody was actually on the camp afterwards. If Cure had waited half a second, they would have been like, guys, this is free, all in. Anybody, somebody go over the wall.
Even still, small things, because Team Freedom has 20 and there are 2 temples activating. If Superstars could somehow get a few of those shots top, they might be able to take out a keep, get some of their own catapult pressure. They're trying to push that lane along, so they might be able to even get a kill on Zugrug. They have force wall hit.
All right, so last time I was questioning Team Freedom's decision-making, they proved me wrong. I'm hoping they do this one too. Top is a keep 100%.
Yes.
Mid isn't 100% a keep. It's just not even a keep for them. But they volunteered, or the fight they had an advantage, to take the mid shots.
They're trying to... Superstars are really just hoping that they can get 20 because of their double global, which they do. They got 20, and Team Freedom they had the vision too, so it wasn't... But yes, one person was on the temple, but maybe Superstars were scared of the bait.
No, I'm talking about Freedom. They could have gotten top keep for free. The only shots they were relying on were the 20 ones. Hold on a minute here. So it's all about the 20 fight. This is what Superstars has been waiting for.
Zugrug's there, Putrid Bile goes down. The force wall's in the back, so is Airho, but Zugrug is dealing with the rest, and there goes the mech. Nazmus gets caught by the drag. He just needs to get in, and he does. He gets back into the mech in time. That got scary, but Team Freedom got through it. Now they need to start getting these resets with their Greymane, with their Li Ming.
They lost their Haka. The Haka's already been caught off on the side there because the chase, but Zugrug, he ends up going down. Cure found himself a 1 reset. Nazmus is just a diva, it's fine. Dansky, oh man, with Cure there, that damage output they have, putting Tracer right in her place, and now Superstars is on full retreat.
Impressive Team Freedom. Oh, there is a Polymorph. Still a dodge. The rest of Superstars gets back. 3 members remain. Shots still available.
All right, so back to the question mark that I had, was just based off of, they didn't make the argument, I haven't seen it, and I don't think it exists. It's just because the health of the structures, if they had gotten every single shot off of top with the 20 advantage they had 1 altar to choose, they chose mid. Mid doesn't get a keep, top 100% gets a keep. And that was the concern I had. Granted, they won the fight, not gonna punish them, but always, I said that in the last series, and No Tomorrow debatably lost a game because I was picking a early game decision that they failed to make. So those things are going to matter, and eventually the keep ends up falling.
It does seem strange that they wouldn't want to get the free ones, but maybe the thought process was, because Superstars is too scared to fight us, if we keep people out of vision, if we keep a hold of mid and only have 1 person there, then we can still get the top ones anyway because we'll win the fight over it, and so we make sure that we don't give any to them.
Yeah, well, I can come up with one argument, also with just that top has the worst territorial fight disadvantage other than bottom, but bottoms is weird because it's far enough that you actually can reposition down below and restart in the fight to where you aren't choked in. But with the Tassadar and Arthas, getting into those chokes in a bad spot you want to avoid, and I guess it was so much so that Freedom would take the open fight, which is only mid-shrine, and avoid the one later on. But they took the fight later on, and that's where I go, I'm not sold.
Airho's making the play. They know they're running out of time. Superstars dive onto Team Freedom.
Divine Shield very early.
That was really early, but they have the mech in the back in the self-destruct. Superstars gets out of it, though, and they're chasing down Team Freedom.
Yoda's in hot pursuit after getting that passive value. Zugrug there, nice force wall zoning out, but the pulse bomb landing onto Stitches is not the target they want. You see on the backside, Nazmus, he's just trying to put out that healing, go for the throat, he gets it. Dansky gets first kill.
There is the resets. Cure hoping for more. Yoda got super low, but Hosty's there too. Cure jumps on top of him and obliterates Tracer.
Nazmus the entire time on the backside just going, I am the problem, doing so much damage there with those guns, throws the thrusters on, body blocks it out, and they find themselves a her-ho. 25 seconds, we've got 2 altars, but Gilly, no matter how Team Freedom decides to do this, this is done.
This is checkmate in so many different positions as Team Freedom marches toward the core of Superstars, about to claim a victory in game number 2, putting them up 2 games over Superstars in this best of 5.
Yeah, and not surprising the fact that we are here at this point in time, and I want to shout out to Superstars in that game with the composition they ran. At least for a couple while, it looked like they were very much going to at least stand a shot up into this game, but then it hit the decision-making of Team Freedom, slightly putting them out of control. It just, Superstars held on with a composition that was only focused on fighting. And normally they're a team that holds on with a team focused on map. And we've talked about how map is always safer. So to do that with that type of comp, though it doesn't seem like it, I would argue, huge improvement from game 1. And just a general improvement from even their performances all of phase 2.
And that was something that they did last weekend as well versus Roll20.
Yeah.
Superstars were willing to draft these team fight-oriented compositions with things like Genji, with things like Tracer, and they're showing that they're understanding that they need to make those kind of adjustments. So I agree with you, and I think there's a lot of teams in North America who are making adjustments who we haven't quite seen where things will settle once they make those adjustments and get used to those adjustments. But they do feel like they're going the right direction for those teams.
Yeah, I very much agree. And, you know, if that had been the game played out the same way and it was like Freedom had control for most of it, but it could have gone a little bit of either way at certain moments of it. I feel like the only time I could have said that about Superstars is when they have, a very wave clear focused draft. They get an early lead on a map like Tomb, and I go, this is the moment they can get away with it. On maps like Sky Temple, any heavy focus like that, I usually go Superstars. I don't expect you to have any chance here because you win through holding on into the map until your opponent makes a mistake, not winning into the skirmishes. And for a reasonable portion of that game, Hosey was up in their face, dropping pulse bombs, and it was working.
Yeah, and they were forcing a lot of Divine Shields that weren't optimal for the composition of Team Freedom. So I have faith in Superstars 2. We'll see if they can start to turn this series around or if Team Freedom will close it out. We're heading to a break. When we come back, more HGC coming at you.
The UED Expeditionary Force intended to put an end to the conflict in the Kaprulu sector and ensure Earth's survival. Unfortunately for Vice Admiral Alexei Stukov, things didn't go according to plan. After being betrayed and killed, his corpse was reanimated and infested, and he was imprisoned and experimented on by his assassin, Samir Duran. Only through a chance alliance with Kerrigan was Stukov able to escape and exact his revenge. Now, his infestation continues to spread into the Nexus. Stukov is a calculating solo support whose infestation abilities capitalize on the movements of his team and the position of his enemy. Stukov is a master at spreading and manipulating viruses created by his abilities. His first ability, Healing Pathogen, boosts his allies with a heal over time effect and spreads automatically to unaffected allies nearby. Next is Weighted Pustule. This range missile pierces through enemy heroes, dealing damage and inflicting them with a slowing virus that increases over time and deals additional damage when it ends. By activating his trait, Bio Kill Switch, Stukov detonates all active viruses on the map, immediately ending their effects and healing his allies or hurting his enemies. Using Bio Kill Switch on Healing Pathogen ends its heal over time effect instantly and heals for a large amount. Detonating Weighted Pustule damages the enemy host and applies a heavy slowing effect. When activated, Stukov's lurking arm plunges into the ground and continually deals damage to enemies in his grasp. Heroes within the target area take additional damage and are silenced as long as they remain inside. Lurking Arm is a channeled ability with an upfront mana cost and lasts until canceled or interrupted. Stukov's first heroic is Massive Shove. Upon casting, Stukov gains a significant amount of armor and launches his arm in the target direction, shoving away the first enemy he contacts. The shove lasts until his foe collides with unpathable terrain and takes damage, no matter how far a distance that may be. His second heroic is Flailing Swipe. As the name suggests, Stukov wildly swings his arm, dealing damage to enemies and knocking them away. He swipes 3 times consecutively, and with each one, the area affected grows larger than the last.
Greetings. I am more monster than man.
Stukov is a monstrous support that his allies love and his enemies fear. Lurking Arm is terrifying to opponents. It appears without warning and shuts down their ability to fight. Foes foolish enough to rush towards Stukov will quickly discover his ability to knock them back, and that his melee is deadlier than they imagined. Make the most of your viruses. Use weighted pustule to cripple an enemy team during a team fight. Your healing pathogen gains value when your team sticks together and spreads its heal over time effect. Communicate with your allies and pick the right target as your patient zero. You'll be surprised at the distance your healing can spread. Popping Pustules is a quest talent that empowers Stukov's Bio Kill Switch trait. Detonate enough pustules and the damage and slow upon explosion become area effects. Detonate viruses when the enemy team is clumped up and watch its effectiveness multiply. Universal Carrier allows healing pathogen to spread back to Stukov from his allies. With solid positioning, he can pass his healing virus between his teammates and himself indefinitely. Finally, the Bio Explosion talent at level 20 allows Stukov to use his Bio Kill Switch trait to explode his lurking arm. This applies a weighted pustule and silences enemies for a couple seconds, providing ample time for your team to remove them from the board. Soon, Stukov's infestation will spread onto the battlegrounds of the Nexus. Manipulate its unique nature to benefit your allies and bring your enemies' downfall.
That I enjoyed.
The table is set for a Freedom 3-0 in this series, and it's up to Superstars to stall things out.
Take us to
get
dessert?
a victory. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pushing on. I'm sticking
I was
with
like,
the dinner
dang it, I
meme.
can't think of something to go along with this, but you got it, Good job.
Yeah, nailed it. Got him going. All right, but game 3, it hasn't looked good so far for Superstars. The first map was going to be the probably best odds. Wait.
Yeah, Braxis.
Yeah, that's not true. I think if the best odds would be 2. Out of all the maps, I feel like I give it to Tomb when it comes to Superstars and their chances of winning the game. Do you know where we're
Even the
going?
new version of Superstars?
Even the new version.
Okay.
It depends. Like, their
Okay,
leadership
okay.
role is constantly shifting. So then it might be a little bit harder. But again, just with their heavy trend of loving to, focus onto the macro play, even though the last 2 weeks it hasn't. What is it?
I would say Dragonshire, too.
Yeah,
They
that's a good point.
really love Dragonshire. Let's see
Yeah.
where we're going. Let's see what the next map is. Shrine. So Superstars feel like their best bet is not to have a Battleground pick. It is to maintain the first pick.
Which explains why the 2 maps you and I talked about and thought that Superstars would be taking us to is not the case. Dragonshire and Tomb are still left up, and now it's going to be first pick here. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Diva.
Last time the Genji,
That wasn't
this
the
time,
question I thought you were going to ask me.
I just respect, like, you walk in with a game plan, you say, I'm responding with Diva, and you don't back out. Like,
Nope.
that's the second time today. And I think, maybe not enough credit to the confidence, just like, whatever she says, I'm going to say grain. I'm going to say grain.